it's a stranger. Communists were also strangers to Poles, and it was established by strangers, meaning Jews. And then after communism or during communism, the anti-communist opposition, and then after communism, we could finally find our own way to the Polish state and to the Polish entity. So this myth or stereotype of Jewish Bolshevism is a kind of a tool thanks to which you can establish a Polish community as an anti-communist community from the beginning of the world. And then maybe I should also mention, especially because of 7th of October, the anti-Zionism, which has very special history in Poland, and now this history somehow comes to the door again, because Poland experienced, or Jewish Poles, Polish Jews experienced harsh anti-Semitic state-organized campaign in 1967-68, and they were expelled from Poland. 15,000 Jews had to leave country because of that, and every Jewish person experienced anti-Semitic harassment those days. So it's a common memory of the Jewish minority in Poland, and also of the Jewish migration from Poland. And this whole campaign went under the slogan of anti-Zionism. So nowadays, when we have again those slogans, those anti-Zionist slogans, especially in the academic milieu, this history is recalled, let's say.
So you mentioned October 7th. How has the situation changed post October 7th? Did it have a direct impact? We have seen manifestations and protests across Poland, with also some anti-Semitic. I believe there was a very significant anti-Semitic slogan and some manifestations during the protest.
Yeah, that's true. On one of the first protests against Israel intervention in Gaza, there was a woman having a poster with a Star of David throwing to the trash. And I don't remember exactly the slogan, but you can imagine what was that. But I would say that the slogans, the banners, posters, flyers, they were not very much different than in the West, let's say, in other countries. And I think this is one of the phenomenon which needs to be mentioned here, that anti-Zionism, as a part of the leftist common sense, let's say, it wasn't so intense in Poland before, but now it has become more intense because it is so intense abroad. It is so intense on the West. And here there is this very interesting paradox of Poland, but also I think other post-communist countries, that there is still this very strong complex in Poland of the West, the complex that we are the East, or we are perceived as the East state, East country, East region, which is nothing interesting, which is a bit barbaric, which is not so developed as West, and so on. So this complex makes people watch what's going on the West and repeat it, sometimes completely, without any thinking about the local context. But local context is actually super intense in this, if it comes to the Zionism and anti-Zionism. First, because of this history from 67-68 I already mentioned, but also because of the origins of the State of Israel. I think if it comes to the anti-Zionism, let's say, those two stories, 67-68 anti-Semitic campaign in Poland and the origins of Israel, and the fact that a lot of people who emigrated to Palestine before the Second World War were Polish Jews who couldn't stay anymore in Poland because of such strong anti-Semitism. They are now called, colonizers, and they are compared to colonizers as, I don't know, Portuguese or British or Hispanic or Dutch colonizers who were, super cruel and conquistadors. So actually, those colonizers of Palestine were very often members of the kibbutz movements from Poland and from this region, from the Eastern European region, who were trying to prepare themselves for living somewhere else than in Poland, because they already realized that living in Poland is more and more unbearable and more and more impossible because of anti-Semitism. So that's the local context of anti-Zionism.
So if we talk about, you mentioned a very important point, which I would really also like to hear more about it, like the influence of Western Europe, but also the influence of the United States. There is a very intense anti-Semitism in the United States among the left, among the right wing. Is anti-Semitism in Poland, does it function within the trends of Eastern Europe, or it's more influenced by Western Europe and the United States?
I think it's exactly on the crossing of those two factors, let's say, and the very special or the very unique mixture of both influences from the West with the whole symbolic authority of the West in countries such as Poland, and the local context of the local history of anti-Semitism, the particular history of anti-Semitism of Central Europe, the particular history of anti-Semitism, which and part of this history is the history of Holocaust, which happened here. All of this together creates a very special mixture and very special situation with anti-Semitism in Poland, which I'm trying sometimes to describe or to just embrace with my mind, but it's really difficult because I always try to take some cut it into pieces to see what's inside. But the fact is that cutting this into pieces is a mistake, because it always works together, on this crossings. So, for example, today, I must totally emphasize that most of the time anti-Semitism is open anti-Semitism. Let's say was on the side of the radical right-wing parties or radical right-wing organizations in Poland. Definitely, in Poland there are still some radical right-wing communities, groups, also formal groups, that they take their history, they take their origins from before the war, so they have this clear fascist ancestors, let's say, and they are proud of it. So, and they are quite openly anti-Semitic, but the anti-Semitism on the left, anti-Semitism connected with anti-Zionism or anti-Semitism hidden under the anti-Zionist slogans. This is something which was already here from some time, but now after 7 October, it's getting much stronger, and it takes a lot of empowerment from the West, and then it also copy the patterns, the aesthetics, the arguments from American and Western scholars or activists.
The Christianity is also very strong in Poland. Conservatism, there is also left wing. So if we talk about the demography of anti-Semitism, and who is who in the anti-Semitic manifestations, how do you explain the situation in Poland?
Yeah, Catholic Church is